Just in, a touchdown for Tom Brady in the courtroom. A federal judge erasing the 4-game suspension the New England quarterback was given for his alleged role in Deflategate. So let's bring in our legal panel, former prosecutor and criminal defense attorney Anna Young and criminal defense attorney Ashley Merchant. Ashley, let's start with you. Reaction?
You know, I think the judge got it right. I know there's a lot of people that are disappointed with this ruling, but I think the judge got it right because what he found was that there was no evidence. There was no actual evidence that Tom Brady knew or authorized or participated or conspired with the rest of the team. He's not saying that the balls weren't deflated. He's not saying that Tom Brady didn't do something wrong by destroying his cell phone. What he was saying was that there was no evidence to support Goodell's decision and that Goodell just overstepped his bounds. I think that's a correct ruling. The league can try to appeal, but they're going to have a really tough time doing that.
Anna, what do you think? Should the league go further with this or just drop it?
You know, I think the league might go further on this. I think they're going to be pretty staunch in their position. They can literally go and try to appeal the decision and request what's called a stay on the decision in trying to enforce this 4-game suspension. But based upon what Ashley was saying, I agree in the sense that the judge had some very strong opinions in this matter. He could have sent it back to the original arbitrator. He could have upheld the decision, but what he did was he overturned it effective immediately. And that just goes to show his belief in terms of the lack of evidence regarding Tom Brady.
Yeah, and from what we hear, if there is an appeal, it would take so long, this entire season would probably be over before there would be any decision on it. So wait and see. Right. All right, and another topic. Just a few moments ago, we heard from Mike Tobin on the latest in this manhunt in Illinois. Dozens of officers combed a cornfield 5 miles away from Fox late at night, looking for suspects in this murder of an Illinois police officer. But now the investigators say it was based on a false report. Kristen Kiefer told them 2 men tried to get into her car when she pulled over to the side of the road. They ran off, but then she later admitted she lied to get attention from the family that employs her as a nanny. So today she's in court. So, you know, the officer, again, is Lieutenant Joe Glinowitz. He was shot Tuesday. They're looking for 3 suspects, 2 white men, 1 black. And Kiefer called police, said she's having car trouble. These 2 men, 1 white, 1 black, tried to steal her car. It was a 5-hour search. It was intensive. There were 100 law enforcement authorities, 11 canine units, 3 air units. Then she admits she made the whole thing up. Anna, how serious?
This is very serious. This case really comes down to restitution. As you said, anywhere from 85 to 100 law enforcement officers, some from neighboring counties, 11 canine units, helicopters, and 5 hours. She needs to pay back every cent that is owed, as she should, because this is a situation where the prosecution is not playing any games. They're sending a message by saying, if you're going to make this kind of thing up, you're going to have to face some consequences, because keep in mind, she's facing a felony, which makes her exposure up to 3 years.
Yeah, Ashley, as Anna just pointed out, it's not just the possibility of paying back restitution for the amount, the huge cost incurred by this. These are also crimes possibly committed. She's charged with 2 counts of disorderly conduct for falsifying the police report. One of them is a felony, could be possibly 3 years behind bars, 1 year on the misdemeanor. What do you think is an appropriate punishment?
You know, that's a really good question, because in a case like this where the state needs restitution, deserves restitution, Anna's completely right. She should have to pay this money back. If you sentence her to prison time, she will never pay any of this money back, because you've got 3 years. So you can either give her probation for 3 years and require her to pay this money back, or you can send her to prison. If you send her to prison for the 3 years, the county and the state's not ever going to see this money. So it's a really tough decision. Do you want to punish her by prison time, or do you want her to actually have to pay back what she's taken from the citizens and from this grieving town in the man hours and all of those things? So that's a hard decision for a court to make. What's the appropriate punishment?
Well, and Anna, you know, again, it's not just the costs and the crimes, it's the fact that resources were diverted. These 3 suspects are still out there, and they had 5 hours to get further away. How much damage potentially to this manhunt?
That's exactly right. It could have caused detrimental damage, because it almost makes you think, okay, her excuse was that she wanted to get some attention from her employer because she's a nanny, but it almost makes you question, is this a decoy? Can you really be that foolish in terms of trying to attention seek, or is this a decoy in the sense that maybe they're somewhere else? Because you're absolutely right, 5 hours is a long time when it comes to a manhunt, and right now we have no leads. This town is shocked by this behavior, and what Ashley was saying, it's true. She can either pay the restitution, but if she goes to prison, she might have that problem. It's a double-edged sword, so we don't know what's going to happen, but I do know that the prosecutor is going to seek full punishment to the fullest extent.
Ashley, the prospect has been raised that this woman is mentally ill. I mean, her excuse here is that she wanted attention from the family that employs her as a nanny. Does she have possibly a mental illness claim here?
If that is the truth and that is the reason that she did this, then I think mental illness definitely has to be explored. But I think there is another side. Just as Anna pointed out, she could be participating in this. She could know who these people are and somehow is helping them. So I think that this needs to be explored, because whether or not it's her mental state or not, she could have some other further involvement in this.
All right, Ashley Merchant, Anna Yum, thank you both so much for joining us.
Thank you.